The exhibition you are about to see is one of several special events held in June of 1991 to mark the passing of Beaufort's oldest educational establishment, Beaufort Hill Infant School. The building was officially opened in September of 1874 and was known then as Beaufort Hill Board School in the parish of Langattock. And for over a century it provided both infant and junior education. In 1976 the school concentrated on infant education only, when the juniors were then moved to a modern open plan building on a different site. In their inaugural year of 1874, Beaufort Board School housed 239 children under the guidance of the then first headmistress, Mrs. Elizabeth Bedford, who from the offset kept a progressive logbook which exists even today and contains much information on the development of the school. From the start, the logbook shows that the school operated a monitor system which prepared suitable students for possible future pupil-teacher appointments. One of the earlier recordings of a pupil teacher was the appointment in 1885 of Mary Ann James, the grandmother of Mrs. Marjorie Harrison, who still teaches at Ebbowvale Comprehensive School even today. In 1879, the junior school was divided into a boys' school and a girls' school, both housed in the same building, although care was exercised in ensuring that the male pupils arrived via a separate entrance. Many of the early teachers ruled with an iron rod, and corporal punishment was commonplace. Also, many of these teachers were from other localities, and they were naturally hostile towards the Welsh nation and its language, and this had a great effect in anglicising Ebbowvale and its surrounding villages. Education in the late 19th century was not only hampered by bad teaching, but also by irregular attendance and absenteeism. Indeed, absenteeism was so bad in 1876 at Beaufort School that the board deemed it fit to appoint an attendance officer, Matthew Gower, a kindly Welsh deacon. His job was to bring defaulting parents to court. Hardened truants were sent to the reformatory at Quaker's Yard, where they paid for their parents' neglect by years of tough discipline, plain food, coarse clothing, and long hours of hard work. In 1893, an entry in the school's logbook recorded, "I am informed this morning of the absence of many boys, owing entirely to poverty, being in these cases either without clothes or food." Other reasons included illness, bad weather, and various forms of entertainment occurring in the village or neighbouring villages. The school logbook also recorded the attendances of the staff, and in 1895 Samuel Jones, the headmaster at the time, was absent on 2 marked occasions when his wife and child died within months of each other. However, after 1900, many improvements were made, such as more certificated teachers, which contributed greatly towards refining the people and raised the general level of intelligence. Today, in 1991, both Beaufort Hill Infant School and Beaufort Hill Junior School provide an excellent standard of education. Beaufort Hill School has now been deemed unfit and unsafe as an educational establishment due to its great age, and it's now been decided that it's not cost effective to restore the old building when a new school can be built at a similar level of expenditure.
Bone now from Mrs. Ford's class. Right. Careful now because she hasn't been well. We all pack the bone. We all pack the bone. We all pack the bone. Right back in there, Bob. Guiding by, guiding by, guiding by, a handsome prince came guiding by, long, long ago. He took her hand to wake her up, wake her up. He took her hand to wake her up, long, long ago. So everybody even better behaved, can't you? Now, if you're very, very good now while the magician is on, you might have tea afterwards. Are you hungry? Well, there you are. It'll be something to be good for, won't it? Something to be good for. Now, the only thing I'm going to tell you this afternoon is our #1 rule. Sit on your bottom. Because otherwise, the children who are behind you can't see. Now, class 4, can you come forward just slightly, please? And perhaps then we can put some chairs across the back for all the helpers. There you are. Because I know you think these children are looking forward to this, but there's one person here who's looking forward to this more than anybody at all, and that's Mrs. Mead at the back.
Mrs. Mead?
What's that? You're looking forward to this more than the children, Mrs. Mead, aren't you?
Right.
She's been that excited today, we haven't been able to keep us quiet.
I'll have to remember that, won't I? I'll take a fire station.
So you remember Mrs. Mead?
Do we need a hat?
Yeah!
else do we need? Something very, very important. Yes, young man.
Magic word.
A magic word. We need a magic word. Of course we need a magic word, don't we? Give that young man a big clap. That's the most important thing we need. Now, put your hand up if you can guess a magic word, or if you know a magic word. Do you know a magic word? Don't shout out. If you shout, they don't ask you. Yes, young lady? Abracadabra. Spooky. I like that one, yes. Do you know another one?
Yes.
Yes, you tell me.
Abracadabra, abracadabra.
Oh, yes, that's another one. That's right. I've heard that one. That's very good. You know another one, yes? Hocus pocus, fried fish and cocoa. That's a good one, isn't it? Yes. Any others? What about Sooty? Sooty says on television. You know one? What's that? Oh, yes. I listened a little bit and I remember that one. Yes, right. Who knows what Sooty says on the television?
Izzy Wizzy, let's get busy.
Izzy Wizzy. Who's this? What's this?
Is that right?
Delilah. Is that right? You tell me. What's your name? Kate. Oh dear. Oh, you've been shouting, have you? Yes. Now, Kate. How old are you, Kate? 5. You're married?
No.
Now, Kate, can you stand? I could get in terrible trouble. So, Kate, would you do something for me? Would you wash it for me? You will? Good. Okay, you wash it. Come on then. What do you need to wash it?
Need water.
Need water. Very good. Anything else do we need? What thing goes round that you wash?
Washing machine.
Washing machine. That's right. Have you got a washing machine in your pocket? No. I know we can do it by magic, can't we? Do it the easy way. Right, let's have a look. I've got a washing machine. What's a funny washing machine's a bag, but never mind. We'll put the handkerchief in there, Kate. All right, take it in, put your hand in, right in, that's it. Lovely. Okay, now, the other thing you need for the washing, and we haven't got any water, because you don't need water when you magic, you need soap powder. Now, I've got some soap powder. Here's the soap powder. All right, hold on to the soap powder, and just shake it in. Okay, you've got a squeaky arm. You need some oil on your arm. Oh, it's that. So I thought it was your arm. Oh, never mind. Arm's all right. Never mind. There we go. Because I'm sure that's done the trick. I'm sure you can. You take the handkerchief out, open it up, and show everybody what a lovely job you made of it. That's right. Okay. Because it's nice. Right, come here, Mass. Face the front. Do you like magic?
Yeah.
Thank goodness for that. Can you be a magician for me?
Yeah.
I teach you. Now you need to be a magician. You need to have a top hat. You got a top hat? Good job, my hat. Face the front. There we go. Looks lovely that. It suits you. Suits you better than it suits me. Right, there's a top hat. Now the other thing you need. What's your name? Adam. Right. Okay, Adam. Right. The other thing you need, Adam, is a bow tie and a white collar. You've got a tie, but it's not a bow tie, is it? You haven't got a white collar. Good job I brought one with me, Adam. Here's the white collar in the box. There we go, let's see if it fits. Of course, a bit big, isn't it? You can wrap it around twice. There we are, that's the collar, alright. Now, all we need to do now is to choose a bow tie for you, alright? I've got some bow ties. Let me have a look what bow ties you got. There you go. Now, well, they're all numbered, so that helps. Can you hold number 1? Now, this is a Scottish one. Hands up those who like the Scottish ones on Adam. Oh, quite a few. Yes, good. Hands down. Number 2. Can you hold that, Adam? Hands up those who like the blue one on Adam. Oh, quite a lot like the blue one. Good, hands down. Number 3. I think Adam will like this one. A nice pink one. Like this pink one, Adam? I didn't think you went now. That's right, good. Number 4. Very expensive one coming up. Gold one. Hands up those like the gold one. Very popular, the gold one, yes. Number 5. You say silver one. Hands up those like silver. Right. Okay, hands down. You notice that every time I asked a different colour, lots of you put your hands up. That's how difficult it is to choose sometimes, isn't it? So I'll tell you what, the easiest way to choose is to choose by numbers. So the Scottish one is number
1.
The blue one is number
2.
The pink one is number
3.
Gold one is number
4.
The silver one is number
5.
Good. Don't forget the numbers, very important, because what we're going to try and do is make the bow tie that we choose in a minute arrive with this collar, alright? So we'll put this collar in the box. Show the box, did you anything in the box, alright? Oops. Can you put the lid on? That's lovely. Now, I'll just put the lid on here. Don't forget, there's all the numbers, there's all the bow ties. Let's put those by there in a minute, okay? Now, we're going to make my handkerchief into a little bag. You do that like this. Huh? And like that. Will you put the numbers in now, Adam? In the middle of the bag, that's it. And we'll shake them up. Adam will choose a number. The number you choose, Adam, is the bow tie we'll use, okay? Shake it up and down. I wonder what number you'll choose. Just take one out. Put your hand in and take one out. You got one? Got one, good lad. Show everybody what number. What colour was that, your number? Gold, that's right. Okay, Adam. Here we go. Let me get a one. Get a one. Here we go. You can use my best one. Because you said gold, you can use the gold-plated one. All right, good lad. Okay, hold the one. Oh! I think you better have the best one. Be your best one. Okay. You ready? Tap the one. Sorry, use the one to tap the box 3 times by there, Adam. Nice and hard. That's right. No, wait, One, 2, 3. Get that box 3 times. That's right. We better all help about it. 1, 2, 3. What colour did we say? Let's have a look inside the box. There's one missing. There's one. A gold one's missing. Let's have a look. Let's see if it's joined it. Adam, you're the magician. You put your. Let me take those. You have a look in the box and take out. See if you've done it. If you've done it, take the collar out. Show everybody. Look at that. He's done it. Wow. Pour the milk into the beaker. Place a piece of paper over the end of the beaker. Turn it upside down and place it on your assistant's head. You ready? Okay, what do we do first? Okay, let's do that first. There we go. I got a nice beaker here, yeah. And we got some milk. We got the paper. There we go. And we got the milk. There we go. Just pour the milk into the beaker. Is that enough? All of it? Yeah. There we are. I think we ought to put it all in, don't you? Yeah! Except the bit we spilled. There we are. Okay. What do we do next?
The piece of paper.
You've got it right. Okay.
It's all squishy out at the bottom.
Thank you, lovely. Good girl. Right. Okay. Now, what are we going to do next?
Upside down.
You better say the magic word now. Just together. 1, 2, 3. Right, what did you do next? Oh, Mrs. Lindsay? Yeah. We better just in case. Oh. Mrs. Mead, you're too early for the nativity play, but there we are. Just put this on her head. Keep your head very, very still. Okay, what do we do next? Take the paper away? No! Yes? No! No! It's wet. Oh no. It says here, whatever you do, don't take the paper away. I'll tell you what, boys and girls, I think it's time that Cynthia and I went now and said bye-bye. Should we try and get the milk out?
Yes.
Who can tell me, how did you get milk out of a cow? What to do with a cow? You squeeze it, you milk it, don't you? Mrs. Mead.
Yes?
Have you... No, I won't ask that question. No, look. No, look. Now, cows got funny things and don't get the milk out. They call others. Don't use that. Right. Now, Mrs. Mead, just hold on to this. That's right. Put your hand up there. That's lovely. That's good. No! Now, actually, put your hand like that. We'll use your hand. Put your hand like that. That's right. Now put this hand out like this. Mrs. Me, look straight at the boys and girls. Now, boys and girls, if you look very closely, what is happening as we're speaking, the milk's going into her head. And it goes into her veins, and it comes to her veins, and it comes out of her fingers. And if you look in her eyes, you can see it going past her eyes. And that's why they call it pasteurised milk. See? Now look, put that by there. That was for the adults. Kids don't get it. Never mind. Right, look. Now, because it comes out of 4 fingers and 1 thumb at the same time, we've got a funnel. So ready? We all get your magic word ready? Fist together. Put your hand in there, nice and neat. All right? Off you go with the magic word. 1, 2, 3. There's only a few drips. Try it again. No, again, 1, 2, 3. It's coming now, keep it going. Look into her eyes, you can see good questions. That's it, keep it going. That's it. Whoa, hang on. Whoa, wait there. Mrs. Maid, you've drunk some. Look, there's some missing. Oh dear. There could be some left, couldn't there? Let's have a countdown, ready? 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift up! Ah! Oh. Give Mrs. Mead a big clap. Yeah. Easy question for you, right? How many sides does a 4-sided box got? Brilliant! Give it a clap! Yeah! Sit down,
Thank you. Do you want to say a very special thank you? Because you may not know this, but this is our very last party in this school, isn't it? So we had to have a very special party, didn't we? You see, we always have special parties, but this is a very, very special party. And do you know what? I think you've made it even more special for us, because we've really enjoyed it, and we'd just like to say a very special thank you. And we've got our own special day, haven't we? We can't shout today, because if we shout too loudly, we might frighten the rabbit, mightn't we? So should we just give Roger and Cynthia a very big clap, and then perhaps when you move to your new school, and your teachers are talking about Christmas parties, you'll say to your teachers, well, we had a lovely time in our very last party, perhaps we could have the magician here again. Wouldn't that be nice? Yeah! Very big clap.
Now, yeah. Jenny's supposed to
What, Christine? Hey? That's your brother?
Can you just listen quietly? You want some?
Look at me.
That 1874 was the year that this school was built, and 1991 is this year, and it's the year that this school is closing. And this school is 117 years old, and Amy's mother made this cake specially so that we could all have a piece to go home. Now what we're going to do, we're going to cut it all up and put it into cling film, and you can take it home and show your mothers and father this beautiful cake that Mrs. Jones so kindly gave to us. Beautiful, isn't it? Lovely, isn't it? Oh, she's done this beautifully. I haven't cut it out straight away either.
Oh, it's okay.
I'll leave it to you to finish it off now. I thought, yeah.
It's pretty nice.
Yes, cream is nice, lovely.
What's your name?
Adam.
Adam what?
Adam Davis.
And what form are you, Adam? What class do you in?
Classroom.
Right.
Kitchen.
Hey?
Kitchen.
Adrian,
Kitchen.
what class are you in?
Class.
When you're ready, go in the corner.
And this is?
My name is
Gemma. What class are you in, Gemma? Class? Class 3. Right. What's your name? Hey? Gareth. Gareth. What class are you in, Gareth? Top class. Right. Did you make that yourself? Did you make that yourself? What's your name? Emma. Emily. Amy. Right, this is Amy. What class are you in, Amy? From class 2. Joel. Joel. This is Joel. And what are you in the play, Joel? You're in the street scene, yeah? You in the street scene? Right, and what school are you going to next year? Eh? The junior. This is David, and he's from class 3. And you go to a new school next year? Are you sad to see this one closing? Are you? Sad, isn't it? Never mind, have a good concert. And this is Gabrielle, and she's in class 3. And what are you in the play, Gabrielle? You're in the nursery scene, is it? Eh? Oh, in the street, I see. Oh, right. And she's in class 1. Is that right? And you go to a new school next year, Nicola? You don't really want to go, do you? No. You'd rather stop here, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Oh, we better not put this on then. And her name is Paris. Is that right? And what form are you in, Paris? No? Class 1. This is Ryan, and he's in class 2. And you go to a new school next year, Ryan? Are you sad to be going? Would you rather stop here? Yeah? And what are you in the play? The street scene. You go to a new school next year, Daniel? Do you want to go? Or would you rather stop here? Do you want to go to a new school? Honestly? And he's from Form 4, and he doesn't want to go to a new school next year, do you? You'd rather stop here, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you? Yes, he would. Rachel. And are you looking forward to going to a new school? Eh? Do you think it's going to be as good as this one? Do you?
What are you going to do, me?
That's 4. And you going to a new school next year? Yes?
You stop pushing me.
What's it called? Beauforthill Juniors. Do you think it'll be as good as this one?
Watch it.
Is it?
Yeah.
Do you think the teachers will be as nice as they are here?
What's in those cards?
You hope so. What are you with this?
Phone.
Eh?
Phone.
What form?
3.
3. Who's your favourite teacher?
Mrs. Sayers.
Mrs. who?
Sayers. Mrs. Sayers, he said.
Mrs. Sayers. Right.
Anybody?
Eh?
Connie.
Connie. Are you looking forward to going to a new school? Yeah. Who's your favourite teacher?
Jonathan Winkle.
Mrs.
Mrs. Rose.
You boys.
Mrs. Vaughan. Right. One vote for Mrs. Vaughan. Right. My little girl's called Sarah. Or my big girl now is called Sarah. What form are you in, Sarah? What form are you in? Are the teachers nice here? Are they? Are they good teachers? Are they? Are you looking forward to hearing them singing today? Who's this young lady then with the beautiful brown eyes? Can you tell me your name? Lauren. Lauren. Who's your favourite teacher then, Lauren? Mrs.?
She's not a teacher. She's
Your favourite teacher? Mrs. McKelvey. Right. One vote for Mrs. McKelvey. And we can't film him because he's not ready yet. He's taking his time. The show starts in a minute, right? Now. Class 4. And what's your name? Eh? Rihanna. Rihanna. And what are you in? You're in the seaside part, is it? He's in the seaside scene as well, is it? Yeah? Yes? No? Who's your favourite teacher? Who's your favourite teacher? Mrs. Ryan.
Mrs. Sayers.
Mrs. Sayers. Oh, that's two for Mrs. Sayers. This is Rebecca. Another bathing bell, is it? You go swimming here?
Let the bathing bells go first. You can go there, look. You over there. Go on. Right.
Rachel, another Rachel. There's lots of Rachels in this class. Who are they? Rihanna. I get all the names wrong, don't I? Who's your favourite teacher? Oh, you've got two favourite teachers, eh? Lovely. Lisa. Who's your favourite teacher, Lisa? You've got two favourite teachers. Lovely. And you're a bathing bell, yeah? Eh? Katie. And you go to a new school next year, Katie? Are you? Are you? Are you sad to be leaving this one? Are you? You'd rather stop you over there? Joanna. And this is Joanna, another bathing bell.
I love you so much. Everybody, stop and
Stacey. Are you looking forward to going to your new school? Are you? Do you think it'll be as good as this one?
Everybody.
It's a good school, isn't it? Attractive bonnet. Oh, Kimberly. This is Kimberly. But Kimberly's looking forward to going to a new school, aren't you? Eh? Beauforthill Primary.
Because the mummies and the daddies and the aunties and the uncles and the grannies and the grandpas can hear
What's your name?
all the noise. Okay?
Sorry?
You're going to be quiet today.
Stella.
And don't forget to slip up.
And who's this then? Sorry? Lisa. Another Lisa. Who's your favourite teacher? Who's your favourite teacher? Mrs. Jenkins. Mrs. Ward. Stephanie. Who's your favourite teacher, Stephanie? Mrs. Oh, right. I believe it. Hello, sailor. What's your name?
Jim.
Right, who's your favourite teacher? Mrs. Sayers. She's getting lots of votes. She must be in the room at the moment, is she? No? Oh, when? Are you looking forward to going to your new school? Do you think it'll be as good as this one? Yeah? Do you think it'll be better? Do you think it'll be better? You don't like this one, yeah? Got to cut down now, I'm going to cut it.
Now, yesterday I didn't think that you sang as well as you could. Right? Want them to speak? Yeah. I don't want to be saying to anybody, come on. Right? Yeah. Tops of your voice, that doesn't mean
Hello. Eh? Daniel. Daniel the sailor. Not Popeye. Your name's not Popeye.
Hello.
No. The Buccaneer. Is it? Are you a Buccaneer? Don't know what a Buccaneer is, do you? It's a pirate, isn't it? You're a pirate, yeah? What's your name? Jonathan. Cracking hat. And who's wearing it? Eh? And who's me? Eh? Richard.
Richard, yeah.
This is Richard. Pirate. Nathan. Is it? Who's your favourite teacher?
Mrs. Davis.
Mrs. Davis. One vote for Mrs. Davis. There's a fella here with a bad eye. What's the matter with your eye? Hey? Nothing? You've been fighting him, eh? What's the matter with your eye? You've been fighting? What have we got that patch in your eye for then? Oh, I see. Right. There's another one here. You've been fighting. Look, you got a patch in his eye as well. The budgie guy stuck down his jumper. Is that what it is? Is that a budgie guy going? Oh, parrot, sorry. What's your name? Eh? What's the parrot's name? Tom. Tom the parrot. And Adrian, is it? Dominic. Dominic, is it? Who's your favourite teacher? Eh? Mrs. Jones. Well, how are you in the show? You're too old to be in the show. You've got a moustache. Eh? There's one of the parents in here. How did he get it? What's your name? Benjamin. This is Benjamin with a moustache. He's a pirate. And he's the last of the pirates. Are you a good pirate or a bad pirate? You're a bad pirate. I thought he was somehow. You look a bit of a ruffian, don't you? With our beard.
If you've been on the video,
Here's Laura, and she's from class 3, is that right? Who's your favourite teacher? Who's your favourite teacher? Mrs. Lewis. And this is Gemma from class 4, is that right? Did you enjoy the play? Did you enjoy doing it? Would you like to do it again? No. Fed up with it now, you. From class 3 with a big bonnet. Where do you get your bonnet from? Eh? Next door neighbours. And your teacher told me she hired all the costumes. And this is Jane from class 4. Did you enjoy the concert? And are you going to a new school next year, Claire?
Yeah.
Are you looking forward to it? Are you? Here's Tina. What class are you in, Tina? Eh? Class 1. Did you enjoy the concert? Would you like to do it again? Would you?
Yes, we know how to
Name again?
Annika.
Annika. What form are you in, Annika?
Class 2.
Class 2, is it? Who's your favourite teacher? You've got to think about that one, haven't you? Eh? Mrs. Davis. One vote for Mrs. Davis. This is Rebecca. Pretty little bonnet. What form are you in, Rebecca? What class are you in? Class 1. What's the teacher's name? Miss who? Oh, I see. Right. That's lovely. Right, now who's this smart young man?
Paul Davis.
Eh?
Paul Davis. Paul Davis.
Paul Davis.
Yeah.
What form are you in, Paul? What class are you in?
Class 1.
Class 1. Who? Alan.
Alex.
Alec.
No. Alex. Alex.
And what were you in the play?
Marriage.
Eh?
Marriage.
Love and marriage. Oh. Are you married?
Yeah.
Are you married? You are, yeah? Matthew. And what were you, Matthew? What were you in the show? So you actually got married, did you, in the show? Are you married in real life? Are you? Have a good girlfriend? Are you? What's her name? Eh? Tracy. Stacy. Right. And you was in love and marriage as well?
Yeah.
Have you got a girlfriend?
No.
You haven't?
No.
How was you in that sketch then? Lovely. Neil. Neil. Have you got a girlfriend, Neil? You haven't got a girlfriend either. You did in the show though, didn't you? Lovely. And you was in love and marriage as well, was you? Did you enjoy the show? You didn't? How was that? I thought it was very good. Lady with a pretty hat. Kerry. Kelly. I always get his names wrong, don't I? And what were you? Were you a bride? Were you? Are you married? Not yet. Lovely. Who's this young man with a bow tie? Who's looking like he's going to a wedding? You're not? Not your own? What's your name?
Carl.
Carl. And you was in love and marriage as well, was you? Well, do you enjoy it? Good boy. Mark. For me, Mark. What class? Class 4? Who's your favourite teacher? You haven't got one this evening? Have you? Not going to tell me yet. Do you enjoy the show? Good boy. Sorry? That's a smashing bow tie you got. Where did you get that from?
No, I made it.
You made it? Your mother made it?
Yeah.
Did she? It's a good one, isn't it? Another groom by her, is it? What's your name?
Jason Grant O'Neill.
Eh?
Jason Grant O'Neill.
Jason Grant O'Neill. What were you in the show, Jason? Love and marriage. You was in that skit as well, were you? Enjoy it? Was it good? Would you like to do it again? Eh? Would you? And who's this?
Matthew, the whisperer.
This is Matthew Lewis what? Matthew Lewis Burrows. And you go to new school next year? Are you looking forward to it? No, you're not. You're leaving school yet? 2 weeks after? Oh, I see. Right, who's this young man? Jonathan. And was you a groom? Did you get married? In the show? You did, didn't you? Have a girlfriend? No? Is he telling fibs? Is he telling fibs, is he?
No, he's not. Yes, he's telling fibs.
He has a cracking top hat. And who does it belong to? What's your name? Eh?
John Egg, kid. John Eggs.
Did you enjoy the show?
Yeah.
What would you like to do again?
Yeah.
Would you? This afternoon?
Yeah.
Me as well, now you're dressed then. Gara. And what were you going to show, Gara? Another marriage, you was in that as well. Do you enjoy it? No. Are you looking forward to going to your new school? Are you? When do you start? September. It's September, is it? Little girl. Bethan. Bethan. You married, Bethan? No, you're not. Not yet. Are you? Oh, too young in him? Eh?
I'm very old.
You're very old?
Yeah.
Oh, you're wearing well. Who made that for you?
Well, I bought it.
You borrowed it? Who did you borrow it from?
Kimberly.
You borrowed it from Kimberly? Well, where did Kimberly get it from?
Bryn Kendall.
Eh?
Bryn Kendall.
Bryn Kendall. Oh, it's pretty, isn't it? Lovely flowers. Do you enjoy the show? This is Joanna, is it? Did you like the show, Joanna? You didn't? I thought I didn't hear you singing. I thought I couldn't hear you singing. Was you singing? Were you? Not very loud. You're teasing, isn't it? And who's this?
Craig McDonald.
Craig MacDonald. And what was you, Craig? You was in the Love and Marriage skit, were you? Did you like it? Did you? And when are you going to the new school? Next year. You looking forward to it?
What?
Are you looking forward to it? Or would you rather stay here?
I got something.
You want to go to the juniors? Carl? Gareth? And you going to new school next year? You want to go? Or would you rather stop in this school? You want to go to the juniors? You're getting a big boy now, you? right, I'll leave it a minute.
Anyway, I'm delighted to welcome you all today. We've been so excited. We've been looking forward to this for weeks and weeks and weeks. It's been a very busy fortnight for us, but we've enjoyed every single minute of it. And this really is the culmination of it all. I'm delighted to see so many people, so many faces that I know, some people I don't know, I've never met before. But I've been spending all day today looking at the photographs to make sure that I can recognise some people as they come in through the door. And Mr. Wells, I recognised as soon as he came in. Never having met him before, but spoken to him, I know. But I recognised him, that's one thing I can say. I'd like to welcome my honoured guests. Mr. Drought, most of you know, I'm sure. Mr. Finney, I know nearly all of you know. And Mr. Roy Noble. I'm not going to speak for very long. Just one or two things I wanted to say. This is a very, very sad day for us, but we're not going to dwell on that today. We're just going to commemorate the 117 years the school has been open, and really I want it to be a happy occasion tonight.
I know, for example, the chairman of governors is here because I met him on the way in. Good evening, sir. And also, of course, Lorraine colleagues and former colleagues of this school. Some of you pupils, some of you taught here, some of you were clerks here. And may I say to those of you who are clerks and have gone, well done you, because if you're a clerk now and faced LMS and financial accounting, let me tell you, life is a lot more bleak than it was. But no doubt it was just as hard in those times when you were effectively keeping the school on an even keel, as clerks so often did and do. Today we are, as Lorraine said, celebrating rather than bemoaning the passing of a school, celebrating 117 years of a school on this site. And that really is a very splendid achievement, that we have sustained something which has nourished and nurtured children over those many years. I'm not sure, having heard what went on and knowing something of what now goes on, that we've made all that much progress. Now I say that the press isn't here, are they? No, that's all right. But you see, here we are with 1874, the day the school opened in September, I think. I've just been looking at the first inspectorate report, when the school opened with 279 pupils, just arrived. 279 pupils on day one, all they came in, none of this phasing of children as they moved into the school, and staff appointed just like that. The board of managers met and appointed, bang, a group of people who were appointed at that time. Please come in. I mean, look, my dear man, not at all, that as well, as everything. The pupil teachers, now this won't be a familiar concept to some, but to others, of course, it will. The old pupil teacher concept, which Joseph Lancaster started, and this was perhaps one of the schools which grew out of that notion that senior pupils looked after younger pupils and dealt with discipline and the rudiments of learning indeed, and had a very important part to play in the arrangements. And at that time, of course, this school was a junior and infant school, and it has moved through, I'm told reliably by a number of people, stages when it was a boys' school, a girls' school, when it was a separate infant, as it now is, and a separate junior, and now we're going back to the situation on the new junior school site, where we draw it all together again in an infant and junior school called a primary school, and so we've come full circle. Have we learnt anything in that time? I think we have, and that's why these two good people here are going to be speaking to you with an insight and wisdom which I can't possibly bring to bear on this occasion. Eric Finney here, who is, I was going to say was, but is the man who has done so much for primary education and for Welsh rugby. I've got the order right way around. And who is known, obviously, to so many people here and held in great affection and esteem. Others who are present who could no doubt tell us a tale or two about times in these parts. Eric was saying to me that this is a very close-knit community, and mentioned the fact, despite the difficulties people went through, for example, in the 30s. I'm not sure whether it is despite or because of hardship that people in fact draw together and draw strength from one another, and in fact forge relationships in a community which are very valuable in terms of supporting one another through difficult times. But you yourselves will know that perhaps better than anybody coming from outside. I think this has been a story of success. You are part of that success. The staff here throughout the ages have made this school what it is. And now we are about to move into the next phase. I'm going to end by telling a little story, a very little story, which is perfectly true. I came to see this school as part of the going round and seeing. I'm determined to get there eventually, to have visited every school in the county. There are 300 and odds. I think as of today the figure is 309. It moves, you know, with closures and so on. 309. And I came to this school and met Lorraine in charge of her staff and her now staff and pupils, and went round the school and was really, I would have to say, not because she's here or her staff are here, but very impressed. I'm sure all of you know, as teachers, what it is to go into a school which has that kind of lively buzz, which means children are interested, children are learning, children are doing exciting things for them. And that was just how the school was here. And I would honestly congratulate Lorraine for all she and her colleagues have done to make it the school it has been and is. And then we repaired to her room, and I said words of congratulation and how much I'd enjoyed the visit, and said to her, now tell me about Welsh in the national curriculum. Ah, she said. And she opened a cupboard and said, there is Welsh in the national curriculum. And there were all the documents which had come from the Welsh office preparing for Welsh in the national curriculum, stored in the cupboard. And I said to her, well done you. You are absolutely right to put that in the cupboard, because you, as manager of this school, have decided, and you will decide, when you are ready to cope with that. Because frankly, colleagues, I would have to say to you, those of you who have perhaps left the service now, and to those of you who are in it, the pace of change, the demands made upon teachers these days is totally unreasonable, totally unreasonable. And I think one of the things people have to understand outside the teaching profession altogether is the demand, the level of demand put on teachers today. And I do believe, frankly, if that were properly understood, the esteem in which teachers would be held would be the right kind of accord and recognition of the role that teachers play. I don't think it's true, frankly, that people don't appreciate teachers, because the people who appreciate teachers are pupils and their parents. And it's very seldom you hear parents, particularly, involved in schools and so on, complain about teachers. But of course one loses the memory of the value one placed upon one's teacher as a young person. It seems to me important that we do address that issue, and Lorraine was absolutely right. She closed the cupboard and said, we're not ready yet, but I believe now the books have come out and are now on top of the cupboard. That's a serious step forward. So we look forward to these new developments in a new environment. Congratulations to all concerned. This is a marvellous occasion. Well done, Lorraine, for arranging this whole event, which I'm sure will be very happy. And now that you've run out of film, I'm sitting down.
Mr. Twinkle.
Well, Lorraine, colleagues, friends, first of all, thank you, Lorraine, for this invitation this evening. It's always so interesting coming back to a place like that. But as Geoffrey Drought has stated, some interesting things are happening in education these days. I hear some strange stories coming out of schools. Like the boy who went home from school one day and said to his mother, Mum, do I have to go to school tomorrow? And the mother said, yes, son, you do have to go to school. Can you give me 2 reasons why I should go to school? Yes, son. You are 48 years of age and you are ahead of school. Well, 2 good reasons there indeed for wanting to go to school. Well, I have taken a completely different route tonight from the role of education in the 90s. I have gone down memory lane. With your indulgence, Lorraine. Because the school has been opened 170 years, but for 30 years of that time, I have connections with it. Because my mother was a pupil teacher in this school 87 years ago. I found that from the logbooks some years ago. I should have taken a photocopy then, Lorraine. If I may take it now before they're taken to County Hall and we'll never see them again, no one ever will, then I would be delighted for this to happen.
20 pence a sheet.
The way she gets money this it was when I first came to the school as a pupil, I believe, though I'm not quite sure of this, was a Miss Prothero head teacher. Do you remember that name in the logbook?
Yes, it was in the log. Yeah.
It was. I can first remember writing a date, 1928. 1920. I don't know why that should stick in my mind and why I should be writing that date at my early age, but I can remember putting down 1928. The Great War was then 10 years over. And one of my earliest memories too was the Armistice Day silence, the 11th hour of the 11th month. And I can remember all of us in school, the whistles blowing in the works at 11 o'clock, and for 2 minutes the world stood still. That has always stuck with me. And all the children were still for those 2 minutes. It was a most interesting and strange experience for me, but that's a very early memory of mine. But as the years went on, it became more noisy in those 2 minutes, and finally it was done away with altogether. Because many of my friends had relatives, close relatives, who had died in the war, who had been injured in the war. Many families knew of other families who had suffered greatly. My own father had been gassed on the Western Front, although he survived the war. So that was the era that we came into, the 1920s and then into the 1930s. I have strong memories of the 1930s. Strong memories indeed. There was depression in this area. Very, very difficult times for everyone. I can remember children coming to school, winter mornings, summer mornings, for morning breakfast. That sticks with me. Very much indeed. But I do remember the closeness of this community, how everyone supported each other. And that holds warm, very warm memories for me as far as this school is concerned. I remember that we were large classes at that time. In fact, 2 of these rooms were divided by a curtain, and there were 2 classes within that large space. That was the situation we found ourselves in at that time. And as I pondered this, I remember that the lessons themselves were extremely formal. Movement in class was not encouraged. Our seats were hinged. When one boy or one girl rose, 2 of you rose. They were tiered, you remember? They were tiered, so they sloped this way. We were in a Roman amphitheatre every time we were in a classroom. And it remained like that. Do you remember those days?
Wish they still were.
Wish they still were. and that's how we found ourselves. And we had a thing called drill. Do you remember? Do you remember drill? It's changed its name a lot before the 1933 syllabus of PE came in, but we had drill. Strange, it was static. You stood in the same spot and went... You remember that? It was a sin to move. You weren't allowed to move in drill. It was handed down, I think, from the First World War anyway. And you know, teachers had to act like drill sergeants when we did it. The only movement we got when we ran out of school and went home, I think. That was it. But in spite of that, they were warm days. Nice to see Bill Jones here today. I mean, Bill was much older than me, of course. He was a year above me in school. But Bill, it was great to see you here tonight. We have lots of talk about that, I'm sure. So those were the days that we had in Beaufort Hill School. But the thing that I remember most, I think, was the Sunday school treats that we talked about in everyday school. Because the centre of our life then was events that happened in our own chapels. We didn't have as many chapels in Beaufort as pubs, but we came quite close to it sometimes, I felt. And 3 events in my life, and the people who were with me in school, the question of the Sunday school walks at Whitsuntide, big event, the anniversary, and you know the last one, the trip to Ballyisland. Trip to Ballyisland. It was our ambition always to go with the first train to Ballyisland, and there were 3 of them, back with the last. That day, Beaufort was deserted. Any army could walk in and take it without any resistance. Completely deserted. But what a flood of memories comes back to me when I think of those days again. Coming back today, the first impression when I looked across the valley was how green things were. Remember when we walked out, we just saw tips and more tips. But there was a football team on the rec here called the Rex, the soccer team, our local football team. And we were great supporters of that team. No grass on the field. They didn't believe in grass on the field because it wouldn't grow there. But what pleasure it gave us in those early days. But above all, I remember the warmth of this society. The friendship I made in those days have been with me ever since. Thank you for all those friendships, and thank you for inviting me.
To tell you the truth, you know, here we are. I've seen a shop close this week. I went to a funeral today. I'm here tonight, and tomorrow I know of a pub that's closing as well. So I'm hoping that July will be a better month altogether. But really, as has been explained by Lorraine, really you have to look at the positive side, and I can look at it going backwards like Eric did, in 2 ways. Because I was involved with primary education, infants included, for some years really, I won't tell you how many, as a headmaster, or head teacher I should say, and also I remember well, of course, my era as a pupil in infant schools and in primary schools generally. I didn't actually work for any of the heads of the valley authorities like Gwent or Mid Glamorgan, even though I've lived in Mid Glamorgan for years. But I know this area relatively well because I went over the top through Ganlidan to Llangattock for about 5 years. I was head in Llangattock for 5 years and head in Pontneath Vaughan, Ysgol Thomas Stevens Pontneath Fechan, as it was called. I spelt that on the telephone hundreds of times. But really, I suppose one of my claims to fame is that I've been a headmaster twice without knowing any county councillor whatsoever. Now that it's long past, however, my first headship was the direct result of 2 other candidates knowing enough councillors, but neither getting majority and me splitting in the middle. We've all done that, I suppose, in the past. Yes, indeed. But I can certainly remember the period I was in Llangattock because it's not so long ago. But I remember, too, the era very well when I was in Brynaman Infant School and then junior school after that, because although I've lived in Aberdare for 20-odd years now, I'm not really from Aberdare. I'm a Cymrean. I met Elaine, my wife, in college. She was doing geography and I was doing geography. but it was no geographical survey or sociological exercise that took me up the Cynnon Valley to Aberdare. It was lust, it was. And I've enjoyed it ever since, you know, living in the Cynnon Valley again. But really I'm from a little bit further west, but a community very much like Beaufort. It's Brinaman, of course, but anthracite belt, really, a well-speaking area as it was then. But my father was a coal miner. We went through the same kind of lifestyle as everyone else. I remember the periods in infant school tremendously. I remember the great joy of my first day with Mr. Welly, the headmistress, at the door, particularly when she said, "Mrs. Noble, we haven't got room for him, he'll have to come back next term." He was my friend for life after that. And also, when you were mentioning drill there, of course, I don't go back that far. But I can remember wet PT, where we had to stand in the rows between the desks and do something extraordinary. Mind you, it was better than going out and laying on those rough mats we had. But Denzel Davis now at last lost his what? Well, that's very well. And also we had to sort of touch our toes very often, and it was a great day when a rumour went round that Sylvia Thomas had a hole in her knicker. Oh, yes. Remember those, really, and certainly the joy as well of going from book 1 to book 2 to book 3. Actually, it was Welsh books we had in the infant school in Brinaman. All a Welsh-speaking infant school, you see, and then on to an English-speaking junior school, really. So, trying to move on. And also, in the entire era of my time in the infant school, when we had percussion, I only once had the drum. Mind you, we only had the one drum. I only had the triangle and the tambourine. Never had the drum. Sylvia Watkins only had the drum. And that was only because her father was a butcher, and there was a certain arrangement with him and the teacher about meat on the weekends. We all knew. But these memories come back to you, of course, and those medicals we used to have as well.
Oh, yes.
In Mr. Well in the headmistress's room. Terrible, isn't it? Not only was there now a smell of blotting paper and ink, but there was Dettol as well. Somebody cleaned it, didn't it? Somebody cleaned it. And also that awful occasion when I was holding my trousers, braces in those days. Somebody had taken them, ready for this. And I was holding them like mad. I wasn't going to let them go. But then she said, "Put your hands in the air." And worst, of course, because there was a period, wasn't there, after the war, from 1945 to 54, when boys didn't wear underpants. There was that gap. You girls didn't know about that, did you? They came back in, of course, in 1954, I think. But actually, these are powerful memories. And also, as Eric said too, you remember the characters that were with you. And these characters are part of the fabric of the building. The memories of this building will hold, of course, is now really permeated straight into the plaster, isn't it? It'll hold them forever. Somebody did an experiment not long ago, you know, that there was a story once about a fellow who was a masonry boy working in one of the dungeons of York, and he was chipping away at a wall, and suddenly an image came out of the wall, and he wouldn't mention it for years, but he admitted it afterwards, and this is true. An image came out of the wall of a cohort of Romans, straight past him and out the other wall, as if he'd released some memory bank in the wall, you see. And James Burke, who used to be on television, actually did a test on that, wondering whether walls in fact can hold memories, especially sound. And they had a choir, a male voice choir, singing against a castle wall, and then trying to get the sound back from the wall some minutes later. And they did manage to achieve it. So you never know what kind of images or sounds that these walls have actually accepted in and are holding for some other generation to come. You never know. Because schools are very emotive places and powerful places, and you'll remember them forever. I was a great believer as a teacher, you know, I think, looking back, in that Jesuit priest who said, "Give me the child of 7 and I'll give you the man." In other words, it was a tremendous responsibility, wasn't it, being a teacher, really. I keep saying this to WIs and other people now, because people who look after children of 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 have a marvelous responsibility. But it's awe-inspiring, really, because you are going to instill into that child all kinds of attitudes and leanings in life. I know that they are born with certain innate qualities. I know that all the bad qualities come from the dad. I know that the mother says, "I don't know where he's from." But in fact, there is a tremendous responsibility, and teachers, of course, and we're all teachers here, have that responsibility too. You all remember, not your period as teachers now, but your period as pupils. If a teacher was unkind to you or unfair to you, even in the infant class, it still left a mark and you still remember it now, and your memory of that teacher is coloured because of it. So these little things are very important. Certainly the memories I had, we had pressure points on us in Burnham. Moving from the infant school to the junior school, of course, which were more or less on the same campus, except our junior school had burnt down. It wasn't an insurance job or anything, it was an accident. But it had burnt down, so we had huts for the entire period that I was there. But there was real pressure in Burnham, and it built up from the infant school really, because you remember it around here, the old 11 plus. I'm not going to talk about comprehensive schools or the alternatives now, but the comprehensive schools certainly offer one thing that avoided the old grammar school problem. Now the grammar schools obviously had a place, but there was a problem socially. The 11 plus itself, or before that the scholarship, wasn't it? But the 11 plus for us in Burnham was very important. It's a big social event in the village. For a child to get through the 11 plus, the family could last years, couldn't they? Go down to the shop and say, Gareth went through 11 plus, you know. Wonderful. It's all right for the great ones, the good ones in the class. They would pass anyway. It's all right for the toops. Nobody expected them to go through there. But there was a grey area in between, which was the problem. What kind of day were they going to have? No continuous assessment, was there? It was all on the day. If you had diarrhea that day, you had it. You know, there was no second chance. You had to pass through a year then. And there were great little subtle points. When we had porridge in the morning, when my mother used to come up to me and say, if you pass, you get a bike. They've all used that. Or she used to say things like, because in Burnham, you were sent to the grammar school in Ammanford, and they had brown uniform. But if you failed, you went to the Ammanford Secondary Modern School, which had navy blue uniform. And my mother used to say, you'll never look nice in navy, mind. Brown is your colour. But I don't know whether they had it around here, but there was something that actually could be done in Burnham and the surrounding villages of West Wales at that time. It was an old wives' tale, really, but if you didn't show enough warmth and go and wider wakefulness in class, you were a bit tough and slow, there was something that could be done. And if you left it late until your 4th year of junior school, then it was desperate stakes. If the exam was in April, then on a dark February night, you could be taken by bus to the village of Wankergowen to see a woman to have it done. Oh yes, gospel true. This woman was a mistress of all kinds of quiet backstreet operations. But in this particular operation, she was an artiste. It was called in Welsh, torri'r llech. In English, it means to cut your rickets or to cut your lethargy. You remember this, no? What she used to do, this is absolutely true, she used to take a sharp knife. Now, if you have a quick feel behind your ear, there's a small sliver of flesh that holds the lobe of your ear to your neck. She'd split that, and the blood would flow, and that would release all the innate capabilities that you had. You could become an Einstein overnight. If you were very thick, she'd do both sides for you. Oh yes. Never talked about in case the police found out. But there were rumours that boys in our class had it done. If you want a proof, you go to my village now, up at Burnham, these days, have a look around for boys my age who can't keep their glasses on. They're the ones. Oh yes. These were the kind of pressure points, really, that were placed on you. And also, of course, the social pressures that you were involved with as well when you were an infant school child. I used to love to go to my grandmother's, where there wasn't any television, and the wireless stood next to the battery that was bigger than it, that fed the wireless. Remember those big batteries? And I used to sit under the table when Mrs. Richards, #1, used to come up for a chat in the dark winter nights, and Mrs. Williams Rudy from across the road would come as well. Always in her black gabardine mac and a beret and a 2-foot long torch, in case the men coming out of the Derwin Arms would molest her on the way. 25 years she was open and nothing happened. They all knew about the 2-foot long torch. But these were the kinds of things, and also clandestine things that affected you and worried you as a little boy. Because miners, of course, are concessionary coal, didn't they? 8 loads a year. You weren't allowed to give it away. If you gave it away, you were fined a couple of loads and you'd have less for yourself. But my Uncle Davy John, a bachelor, who lived 2 doors down, was always in his coal shed. Always having a big couple of lumps of coal, wrapping it in brown paper, putting it in his pocket, and taking it to 3 windows down the road. For no payment whatsoever. as far as I know. Only keeping them warm, dry arm in winter. That's all he said. These were the clandestine things. And the moral problems as well. I had a terrible moral problem when I was about 5 or 6. Because my father in those days used to work in the steer pit, Mangagerwe. No pitted baths, of course. He'd come home, and my mother would take the bath down off the nail in the back. She put it in front of the fire. The bath was hanging near our semi-detached toilets at the back. 2 toilets near. I was the nail. 1 brick, you know, but I would chat to him. Incredible thing, we came to Merthyr the other day, Frank Hennessy and myself, no, just last year, and a woman there was talking about semi-detached toilets and the coating you could do in them. Yeah, this is gospel true. You used to hit a brick out with your elbow, and the fellow would go in there and you could have hold hands then. Swear right, it was true. That's right. Oh yes. No, the bath would come down, but my moral dilemma was, you see, that my mother would fill this bath in front of the fire. Every time my father was in it, Katura Price from next door would come in. Borrow sugar, borrow butter, borrow anything. I've never known a woman so short of something about My worry and dilemma was, and I was just beginning to notice the difference between men and women then. Gaynor Jones next door helped a lot. No, they're just very innocent. But the dilemma was that every time my father was in the bath and Katura Price would come in, he didn't seem to mind. He'd go down in the water a little bit, but he'd seem to mind. But my dilemma was that whenever Katura Price had a bath, it was a different kettle of fish then. Oh yes, curtains were drawn, doors were locked, and we kids in our street were sent to another street, in fact, to play. So really, these were the little images that always came with me. And also, my aunties. They left powerful images upon me because I lived in a street of 22 houses. I had 22 aunties, I had. Some of them were related to me and some of them were not, but I went on messages for all of them. 22 aunties, or taking your turkey down to the old baker's at Christmas because you wouldn't go near your oven. You would wait, you know, you would turn to have it out. And little things that people of that time say to you stay with you. We're in a sophisticated age now of all electronics and devices in the home. But my Auntie Katie from Port Talbot used to say things that have stayed with me forever. If you've washed your hair, don't go out for an hour. Or don't go to bed for an hour and a half, in case you get the pillow damp and you get a cold. Little things like that. Take your vest off April the 30th. Put it back on October the 1st. And something I don't understand from her at all, being that she was a spinster of the parish, and it's not a word you can use these days, but something I didn't understand. She said to me once, Roy, being that you're a boy, don't you dare cross your legs until at least 14. There have been times lately when I wish I'd, you know, listened to her. But these are the little things that stay with you from all kinds of schools. I could go on and talk about so many teachers that were tremendously influential on my makeup, both in junior school and in secondary school as well. We had Mr. Griffiths, was a tremendous fellow. But I remember him as a marvellous teacher, coloured his entire classroom. But I remember him for one thing more than anything, because whenever he had a heavy cold, he used to blow his nose copiously in the hanky and put it on the radiator to dry. You talk to me now about the Romans and the Greeks or whatever, and I always immediately have an image of a steaming handkerchief. But these are all things, you know, that stay with you. I could go on to secondary school as well, but they're a little bit further on, of course, than the others. Because in school in Burnham, we didn't have too many sort of sporting facilities in those days either. We had one athletics match against Ghana in school, one cricket match a year against Ghana in school, and one football match a year against Ghana in school, that's all. So our entire fixture list forever, and I was always drawn in the lane which had a dump in it. You know? And also, of course, the great joy of finding 2 black taps from the cupboard that were the same size, as they poured out onto the floor. Laces were non-existent, of course. And also, a little older when you had to learn dancing, remember? Going to secondary school, I could go on to that, where compulsory ballroom dancing was forced upon you. And no question of bringing your boyfriend or girlfriend. Boys against all ball bars, girls against all ball bars. You dance with him, you dance with him, you dance with her. And you know what it's like? When you're in a line, you go, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh God, what I got? You know, give you half a crown to move up. No, No. These images, certainly of school, stay with you tremendously. And it's always, of course, a sad occasion to see any school close. When I was head of Pont Newydd, Ystrad struggled for years, Ystrad did, to stay open. They were down to 13 when they finally went, because it was in that appendix of Powys whereby there was really not much alternative. We went to Maisaderwen School, you see, and that had just been reorganised after the 1974 upheaval of the change of the boundaries, where this used to be in Breconshire, didn't it? Pardon? Oh, it didn't, was it? Bryn was, that's right. Well, of course, now they're thinking of changing it again. It won't cost a lot, they said. Except they start building other county halls now in various places as well. So these images obviously stay with you. If you allow your mind to wander, and for those of you who have been involved with the school, of course, the books are there. I've had a cursory glance at them. Certainly the photographs are there. The images of this school will remain forever, certainly within your own mind, and possibly within the walls too. Whatever they do to the building, of course, won't change what this school has meant to this community, ever. It has been tremendously influential on so many lives. Just think of the pupils and the teachers that have been here. Possibly the pupils. Where are they now, and where would they be had they not been just the first few years of their life in here, just benefiting from the atmosphere that prevailed at the time. For those of you who are moving on, or are in other places already, I wish you nothing but good fortune. For those of you who haven't quite found your niche yet, well, I hope that certainly is settled before long. And for those of you who have been involved with this school, may I express, as an ex-educationalist, and it's really comfortable to be watching the game from the terraces at the moment, I can tell you. But my wife is still an infant teacher, so I'm still very much attached to what goes on. All good luck to you, and for all the work that you've done in this school and been part of it, our grateful thanks indeed. Your end products, of course, are out there in various parts of the world doing good because you just pressed one domino into place just to ease that one step further for that pupil. Many thanks to you.
When Lorraine asked me to do the vote of thanks, I thought, grief, all those people who've passed through this school, I'm sure to stand up and shake, and true to form I am. But all the same, I'd just like to thank our guest this evening, Mr. Noble, for entertaining us so well this evening. Eric here, who gave us so many memories to think about. I'm sure that the children who passed through this school, going from 1874 up until today, will have very fond memories, and they will always remember the time and the care that the staff have taken in this school to make our children's time in this school a very happy place. I'd like to think that the staff will be happy wherever they go on to. I know that some of the staff are going up to the new primary school. I wish them well in the new primary school, as well as the new head of the primary school. I'm sure that will just be a happy place as well. To the staff who are moving to new places, I wish them all the best. And if they take as much love and encouragement to the children where they are going as they've given to the children here, the children will be very lucky indeed. I'd like to thank you all for attending, and once again, give a round of applause to our guests.
They were going to ring the bell, but I've been in front of an assembly before. We're going to cut the cake. Just takes me back a bit. Takes me back to Gower Chapel, 1968. Here we are. You're not getting my thin patch now, are you?